Configuring Google Analytics goals. Google Analytics goals, like any goals, are actions which we strive to complete, or in this case, have our website users complete. In GA, we have the ability to track user actions and then relate that data to things such as the marketing source, user location, and other data, as we've seen in previous reports. Typical goals include things like newsletter signups, white paper downloads, brochure downloads, new website members, the amount of time spent on site, the number of pages viewed during a session, and the list goes on. So for this lesson, we're going to set up a new goal on our demo website which tracks the users who sign up for our newsletter. Let's get started. The first step is going to be adding a new goal. So on the top navigation, we're going to visit the admin. And we're actually under the View section going to set up the goal there. So goals are set up at the view level. In this particular example, we have multiple views on the same website. We cover this more in future courses. For the most part, though, with a very simple Google Analytics installation, you're just going to have one view. You'll click Goals, and this brings you to the Goal Overview screen. So if you had any goals set up here, they'd appear in this table. Let's go ahead and add our new goal. So the first step of goal setup, there are a number of templates that are preset. You can either use these or just click custom, but in this particular example, we happen to see a template for a newsletter sign up. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to continue. As you will note, though, there are other templates which you can link into here, things like contact, find a location, see deals. Again, a lot of these are sort of preset. There are a few settings that we'll see in a second that will be set up for you based on what you choose here. Most of the time we end up just choosing custom or newsletter sign up. We'll start with newsletter sign up and hit continue. Next we want to give our goal a name. So this is what's going to appear in the reports. It's aptly named newsletter sign up, so we'll leave it there. You can choose a goal slot ID. By default, it's going to choose the next available slot. You can usually leave it at that unless you're particular with how you want these arranged, more of an advanced function. Now to track our Google Analytics goal on this site, we need to actually complete the goal to figure out which type we have. So we have a few different options here. One is a destination goal. And what this would mean is that when the goal is complete, the user lands on a certain page. And the user only lands on that certain page when the goal was complete. So we want to go ahead and sign up for our newsletter and see what that behavior is. The other options we have here are duration. So we could potentially, if we don't necessarily have a tangible goal, we could say, well, users who spend 5 minutes on our website, we want to track that as a goal because a long visit is a positive sign that they were engaged. Similar goal to that is pages per session. So, you may identify that the average user only visits 3 pages, but you want to track the number of visitors who maybe visit 10 because it's such an outlier. It's so far out there, and you consider that a successful session. And then the slightly more complicated type of goal is an event, which we cover in future courses. So, for this example, I believe we have a destination, but what we're gonna go ahead and do is go on our website, sign up for the newsletter, and get some information from there. So I'm just going to jump over to our website and sign up for our newsletter. And what you'll notice is that we get redirected to a confirmation page, which is a good sign. This is something that we can track. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and copy the URL, which is on this page, because we're going to need that in just a second. So as I mentioned, in this particular example, we have a destination page. The only way that people get to that page is by signing up. So we know that every time somebody hits that page, they've accomplished our goal. And we're just going to click continue. And now we have to configure the actual destination location. So we have a few choices under goal details. We can use a URL is equal to or begins with, or a regular expression. Regular expression is for future courses, but equals to or begins with are the two you'll probably use most of the time. And equal to would mean what is the URL exactly that they land on, whereas begins with would mean what does the URL start with. And the only reason you'd use begins with is if for some reason the URL for which your user lands on changes, but always has the same beginning. So in some cases, your website may add a variable of some sort at the end of the URL or something like that. But in this example, we want to type in the exact URL which they hit, which happens to be this /save20 on today's order URL. Note that I'm not putting the entire URL in, but just everything that is after the domain name. So that's just something to keep in mind. And if it's case sensitive, you'd want to check that here. Generally it won't be, but you could. The next thing we want to look at is value. We talked about in the past how we want to assign value for every goal. And really, again, it's just a comparison engine so that if we have 3 different goals and one is much more valuable than the other, when we measure that campaign information, we can really assign which one is bringing back the most value. So I'm just going to come up with a number like $2 for the value of each subscriber. And that'll add sort of $2 in value each time this goal gets triggered. And the last thing you can do here, and this function doesn't always work, is you can click verify this goal, and Google will look at historical data and see if the goal has been triggered. And sometimes this doesn't work. I'm going to give it a try here. This one is saying that the goal has a 0% conversion rate. We know from history that this is in fact the right page, so again, this tool doesn't always work. You can just probably bypass that for now. We're going to go ahead and hit save. And now we are back on the goal overview screen, and you can see that our newsletter sign-up goal is here. The only other thing to note here is that we can turn these goals on and off if we choose to. Not something you'll probably need, but it is there. The last step in all this is going to be to test the goal. So what we are going to do this time is we're going to go back to our website. We're going to sign up again. And right after we sign up, we're going to jump back over to real-time reports. And if you remember that from previous lessons, the real-time report is a great testing tool for this type of thing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go back on the top nav to reporting, left nav real-time, and then this time I'm going to go to conversions. Okay, and you can see that our newsletter sign-up is now here as a goal, but what the report is saying is that there are no active users, meaning that we don't have a conversion. And that's true because we just set it up. We want to set a conversion quickly here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a private window just because we're cookied as signed up already. We're going to go back to our website and we're going to sign up for our goal again. And we'll wait until we get our confirmation page, and then we're going to jump over to the real-time report quickly. So we're on our confirmation page. We'll minimize that window. We're going to jump over to our real-time report, and we can see already this bar which indicates that a goal was hit. And then we see the 1 populate, meaning that we just had a newsletter sign up. So that's our quick way to test it. We've gone through, we've set up the goal, we've completed a goal, made sure it's testing, and now we know that future goals will come through correctly as well. And that's the basics of setting up goals in Google Analytics.